Would you please remain standing for our national anthem? Let me introduce the Kappa Brass Quintet. Thank you, and you are more than welcome and encouraged to sing along. Thank you. Would you please be seated? I want to officially welcome you to the 2013 commencement ceremony for the Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy, our first ever. On behalf of the students and staff members of the school, the Pittsburgh Public School District, and the Board of School Directors, thank you for being here this evening. Before we officially begin our ceremony, I do want to take a moment and thank a few folks who made this evening possible. SciTech owes a debt of gratitude to over 200 individuals from the Pittsburgh area who helped design the school that we are today. In addition, none of this would have been possible without the financial support of the DSF Foundation, U.S. Steel, the Buell Foundation, the University of Pittsburgh, and Carnegie Mellon University. If you're one of these individuals or represent one of these organizations, would you please stand? They're very shy, but I know some of them are here. Also, SciTech is able to do what it does every day because of a hardworking staff who is willing to go above and beyond on a consistent basis. These folks are the lifeblood of SciTech and do whatever it takes to help our students find success. If you are a member of the SciTech staff, would you please stand? Please join me in a round of applause for these individuals. At this time, I would like to ask DeAndre Johnson, one of our graduating seniors, to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. DeAndre will be leaving for the U.S. Navy next week, and we thought it would be very fitting that he do this. Would you please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You now be seated, please. At this time, I would now like to welcome SciTech's director, Mr. McNeil, to the podium.
Someone once said, there are more marvels in man than we can imagine. He will think if inspired and act if called upon. And on this evening, that statement speaks true to the students that we have in front of us today, because more than 4 years ago, these students were called upon to be a part of a newly designed school, Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy. And I'm appreciative of these students because when they were called upon, they rose up to meet that challenge. And on this evening, I just want to encourage the students and let them know that I'm glad to have the opportunity in their senior year to be able to see some of their gifts and their talents come to fruition. And I look forward to hearing about the great things that our students have in store for them in the future. So again, this evening, congratulations to our first graduating class of Pittsburgh Sci-Tech. We are pleased this evening to be able to have with us Dr. Linda Lane, our superintendent, as well as Mr. Thomas Sumter, our vice president of our school board. And at this time, we're going to give them space to have words this evening. Dr. Linda Lane.
Well, good evening, everyone. As I looked out at all of you, I thought about a day I spent when I first came to Pittsburgh watching a PowerPoint about this school. And to be here tonight with you is just so totally amazing. I cannot tell you how proud we are of you. You've blazed a trail that others can follow. And we will be following you because we know you're going to do great things for the city of Pittsburgh, for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and for this country. So thank you all for being our first class. And you are first class. Thank you.
Good evening. I first want to thank God for the opportunity to be here. It's all right, you give it up. I know somewhat of what you feel because I was in your position many, many years ago. I did graduate from Shenley High School, Pittsburgh Public Schools, from this very venue. So I graduated right in this very same place. If I could tell you just a few things, don't let this be the highlight of your life. Never, ever stop learning. Life is a learning process. If people say hello to you, just tell them how you are. Tell them I'm still learning. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. Choose the right way. I came out of Shenley High School, high honor roll, went on to Carnegie Mellon University and found out what I didn't know. So don't think that you know it all. Be a sponge, absorb all that you can through life, and again, never ever stop learning. If you just remember, you're writing the history of your life, so if you do good things, you'll have a good story to report on. If you could indulge me just for a moment, if the prospective graduates would please stand. Now, what I want you to do for the prospective graduates that are on the floor, if you please turn around. Now, what I want all the prospective graduates to do to start clapping your hands, giving all the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the uncles, the friends, the neighbors, everyone that came out here to support you, show them an appreciation with a standing ovation. Thank you very much. You may be seated. A pre-congratulations to all of you. And again, I have a little bit in common because the school that you're graduating from was my former elementary school. So it was converted, and now it's Sci-Tech, and hey, you guys are putting Pittsburgh on the map as far as achievement. We rank high in the state, and we're outperforming a lot of schools throughout the state. So again, God bless and congratulations.
this time, I would like to introduce our 3 valedictorians for the class of 2013. The 3 individuals that I'm going to introduce in just a moment never received a B in their entire history while at Sci Tech. These are 3 impressive young people who have done us proud over the last 4 years, as have many of the other members of the graduating class. So I'm going to introduce each one of them, but each one of them is going to have their time to come forward and say a few things to you and to the graduating class as well. So our 3 valedictorians this year are Katie Head, Stephanie Hrabar, and Sam Rest. I would like to invite Stephanie first to the podium. Stephanie?
Dreams are successions of images, ideas, emotions, sensations that occur in the mind. They can be considered visions, aspirations, wishes, goals, and hope. I think of dreams as plans, a kind of roadmap. In elementary school, we were asked what we wanted to be when we grew up. At Sci Tech, we were asked how we would spend our lives, after we became famous scientists, of course. As much as we would like, we can't predict the future. We can't know for sure where our decisions will lead us, yet we can dream. I love when you talk to young children. You ask them what they're doing with the rocks in the backyard. They tell you that they're building a spaceship so that they can blast off to space, eat the moon because it's made of cheese, have milk and cookies on the Milky Way, and become best friends with a real-life alien. But the best part about it is that look they give you when you don't believe them. Of course this plan is going to work. You are the crazy one for not trying it. I'm sure this is the look Sam Franklin and his team gave many people when they were making this school. Of course high school students can learn college-level science skills. Of course we can find students interested in the STEM fields. Of course we can change kids' minds about science. Everyone else was crazy for not trying. I know I have definitely seen that look on many of my classmates' faces. When the engineers were building their mousetrap cars, I saw their crazy ideas come to life, even one with wheels made from old vinyl records. I can also bet you that not many people would be able to make a rap about polio. And who knew that high school students could make a difference in the environment? Or you can make a computer program to solve problems on your calculus homework. Nothing can be done if an idea is not first formed. How can one accomplish anything if they don't imagine it nor have a passion for it? I think this is really what Sci Tech has instilled in its students. As students of Sci Tech, we have learned to search for our passion. If we don't find it right away, we are forced to find something else, then something else, and then something else. However, giving up is not an option, because that's not how we do things here at Sci Tech. Some of the greatest skills our class has learned as human guinea pigs are patience and flexibility. Not everything works out the first time. When we got frustrated when our transcripts were messed up, when Moodle went down, when we could never agree on good activities, or when we realized that a thunder shark was not a real animal, we were asked whether or not this was considered failure. The solution we were given was to think of a better way. Sci Tech taught us to dream without worrying about how crazy we look. When I started talking to colleges last year, I was surprised with the reaction I got when I explained what I wanted to do in school. They looked at me like I had 5 heads. Apparently, biology and dance is not that common of a combination. Despite their questioning looks, I knew what I was passionate for, and I plan on carrying my ideas through. I think the same can be said for the majority of the class of 2013. We're not afraid to go after what we want. If we don't know what that is yet, we're not afraid to search. Dreams are the closest thing we have for the blueprints for the rest of our lives. They allow us to plan, to keep what we like, and discover a way to change what we don't. Dreaming is the first step to any plan. It is followed by discover and design. This is the plan SciTech was founded on, and the plan we have followed for the past 4 years. But dreams cannot stay dreams. They are the foundation, but are nothing without action. It is our job to close the gap between dreams and reality, but we must have the courage to do so. Congratulations, class of 2013. Never before, never again. And now I would like to introduce Catherine Head.
Discovery. Is this working? What? Discovery. It's not a particularly long word, and quite fortunately for those of us here today that have to be making speeches, it's not very tricky to pronounce either. If this speech was about anemones, remuneration, or onomatopoeia, I'm sure it would be at least twice as hilarious to listen to as it is now. However, while it might not be the hardest thing to say, discovery is quite definitely a difficult thing to predict. You can theorize and hypothesize all you want, but by the end of any good experiment, if you haven't been surprised by at least one aspect of the results, or even the experiment itself, you're probably doing something wrong. It's when things deviate from the plan that they really get interesting, and SciTech is no exception to that. With all the chaos involved in setting up such a school, it may have surprised some to find that SciTech's first graduating class actually made it to graduation at all. That's a discovery that even I'm still reeling a bit from, and that's without even considering how much closer college is looming day by day. Still, with all the twists and turns we've been through over these last 4 years, we've discovered quite a lot of things here at SciTech. In just the first month of class, one student learned that messing around with an aerosol can and a lighter in the boys' bathroom wasn't the brightest of ideas. And the rest of the student body discovered just how exciting it is to stand around in a parking lot for 4 hours while firefighters cleared the building. Personally, many of the discoveries I made at school weren't all that exciting from an outside perspective. I discovered new friends, teachers, hobbies, and even an interest in engineering. But as important as these are to me personally, none of them could really be called groundbreakingly unique. I certainly didn't invent making friends, and there are probably thousands of people with similar interests and hobbies. But that's not the point, is it? Something doesn't have to be grand or novel to be important. And a personal discovery can be just as significant as any flag planted in an island somewhere. All of the students here today discovered something of themselves during their time here at SciTech. And what they discovered is the important part, not how new or exciting it seems to others. Today, though, we take our first steps into a new journey. We are on the precipice of true adulthood, and whether through college, the military, or some other alternate, we will soon be taking that final step. The path is not uncharted. In fact, far from it. Literally thousands of maps, both literal and metaphorical, can be found claiming knowledge of how to travel through life. But that doesn't mean the journey will be easy or predictable. We are to enter a state of constant discovery, where every step presents new opportunities for us to examine and explore. Our discoveries won't all be pleasant, and the plans we make may arrive at unexpected destinations, but that doesn't make our efforts meaningless. We have to dream to discover, and what good are our discoveries if we don't learn from them? Today, I discovered that it's not as bad as I thought it would be to give a speech to a crowd, as daunting as the notion can be, and that knowledge is something I'm sure will come in handy someday or another in the fast-approaching future. I mean, what can I say? I plan to stay ahead, after all. And now I will introduce Sam Rust.
watching you guys. Thank you, Stephanie and Katie. So, a few days ago, I was sitting in Dr. Shear's office, and I was flipping through the Joseph A. Bank catalog that he keeps on the conference room, or conference table in his office. I was looking for powder blue tuxedos, but I found a letter in the folds. A letter that contained an early description for the design of the Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy. As I read that letter, I thought to myself, how would I design a school like ours? Well, first, I would name it the Samrest Academy to Save the World. But then, I would go on to design a school with amazing teachers and staff. I would design a school that allowed students to step out of the traditional classroom and into a real-life working experience. And I would design a school with tremendous diversity. Sound familiar? Turns out the Samrest Academy is a lot like SciTech. I guess that's not a coincidence, but let me tell you why. First, the teachers. Many of the teachers at SciTech have advanced degrees and significant experience in their fields. But more importantly, they really care about us. Just one example, Dr. K, who's sitting right over there, my option head, was there for me throughout my time at SciTech, from patiently explaining bacterial cloning to coming to a swim meet my sophomore year that my parents didn't come to, which, by the way, I really appreciate, Mom and Dad. But in all seriousness, thank all of you. You really made a difference. The Samrest Academy would provide ample opportunity for students to take a deep dive into their chosen field. At SciTech, we complete a large-scale project and learn what it really means to be an engineer, a computer scientist, a biologist, or environmental scientist. Through that project, I personally have become intimately acquainted with the breeding habits of fruiting flies, something I never thought I would know so much about. And lastly, in a speech 4 years ago, Sam Franklin, the man who originally designed SciTech as a graduate student, expressed the hope that this school would change the face of science. He said that the future of science looked different than in the old textbooks. Well, look at this class. Our very diverse and talented class represents the diverse future of science and technology. But what does this have to do with graduation? SciTech's design is one to take into account as we look forward to designing the rest of our lives. Surround yourself with people who are different than you, whether they be culturally or intellectually different. Collaborate, because it's 10% of your grade here and 90% of what's important in life. And find the smartest, most supportive mentors, and then give them a reason to want to invest in you. So it turns out SciTech is a lot like the Samrest Academy, and that's a good thing because my sister Zoe will be a sophomore here next year, and I hope that her high school experience is as meaningful as mine was. Now, I would like to end with a profound question. If you just give me 1 second here. This is the first time wearing one of these. How many SciTech students does it take to screw in a light bulb? 56. 1 to hold the light bulb, while the other 55 turn the world. I love you guys. Congratulations, class of 2013. And then, please join me in welcoming the Superintendent Dr. Lane back to the podium.
That was wonderful. That's one from my quote book. Each year, the secondary school principals are asked by me to nominate a member of the graduating class for the Superintendent's Excellence for All Award. Principals were asked to nominate students who should be recognized as outstanding members of their class who had already received some other special honor. We cannot honor every student whose achievement is outstanding, and I know all of yours is. But in recognizing the one student, it's possible to salute the outstanding achievement of the entire class. It's my pleasure this evening to present the Superintendent's Excellence for All Achievement Award to the student who was nominated for that honor by your principal. The student so honored at Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy 612 is Stephanie Raybar.
At this time, I would like to invite one of the individuals who was responsible for planting the seed that allowed SciTech to become SciTech. He's already been referenced in a number of the speeches this evening, and is certainly worthy of the remembrance that we all have for him and what he started. So I would like to welcome to the podium at this time, Mr. Sam Franklin.
Good evening. My birthday is coming up in July, and I guess I will be asking for a robe. It's not something I had on my radar, but I guess I need one. Also, I was standing next to James Whitfeld backstage when we were getting ready to walk out here, and he was the last student in line. And he looks at me and he says, "I just realized something." And I said, "What do you realize?" He said, "Well, SciTech is the last school to have its graduation, and my name is James Whitfeld, and I'm the last in line. I'm going to be the last graduate of the class of 2013. I thought that was very insightful, very observant. Clearly, you guys learned something over the last 4 years. It has been one of the greatest honors of my life to help open this school, and so many people who helped open this school can't be here tonight, and there's too many of them to name, but I worked very hard on making this idea become a reality with people like Judy Hallinan and Stacy Parhams and Stephen Pelethy and Michael Amick and so many people who you guys remember, Diane Carroll, and just and now here we are. And you guys have all gone through a lot together over the last 4 years. Lots of laughs, lots of challenges, the regular stuff of the regular high school experience, plus the thrill and the responsibility of doing something entirely new. And I've thought about you guys every day. And I know I'm not the only one who has, and I can hardly express how much I admire all of you for what you've accomplished. Students, obviously, you're graduating from high school. But families, you guys took a risk with one of the most precious and valuable things that you have, which is your child's education. And that took courage, and I admire you for doing that. And teachers, you guys, I honestly look at you guys and I hardly know what to say to you because you're an incredible group of people. There's nothing more important that you could be doing than what you are doing. And so many people are lucky. I think many of us in the auditorium would be fortunate to look back at our own high school experience and we think about one or two special teachers who gave that extra push or that extra effort. And you guys have the opportunity to look back and think that way about basically an entire staff. And I hope you appreciate that, and I hope that you will appreciate that. Dr. Shearer also, who is here from day one. So let's give Dr. Shearer, please, a round of applause. But as we talk tonight about your personal accomplishments, when you're consumed by the day-to-day challenges of being a student and being a teacher and being a principal, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. And all of you are contributing to things that are bigger than SciTech and bigger than yourselves. A couple things you're contributing to. One, you're contributing to an effort to help our city and country innovate and grow through science and technology. You're contributing to ensuring that young women and students of color are not only present in these fields, but are leaders, role models, and equal contributors to our scientific future. And you're contributing to a critical effort that's taking place to update education to the modern world we live in and make school more fun and more interesting and more engaging for students and for teachers. This in particular is not easy, and you guys have put this school on the right track. I believe that you've made this school better every year, and it will continue to get better with your influence and your legacy. One of the things I've always appreciated about talking to you throughout this journey, and I'm talking about teachers, parents, students, is that you've never been satisfied. You're always looking for ways to make it better and thinking about the ways that it could be better and being hard on yourselves. And that's a promising thing. That's a good thing. And that's one of the things that makes me feel so confident about the future of SciTech. And all of you have paved the way for others. But no matter what they do, you guys will always be the only first graduating class. So a traditional commencement speech usually touches on some of the things the graduates have learned and how it will help them succeed. But tonight, in this unique situation, there's an opportunity to highlight things that we've all learned. Things that leave us in some ways feeling a little bit weary and wiser to the realities of the world, but also more equipped to effectively work within it. You did dream, discover, and design. You brought an entire school to life. Its courses, its programs, its rules, its routines. It's every day. You stuck with it when the reality of the day-to-day differed from the vision that you wanted and what you thought it would be like. And when things were not quite coming together as you hoped, you persevered. You pushed each other, you compromised, you worked hard, you confronted failure, and you stuck with it. Those are the realities and requirements of successes great and small. They're the realities of science and technology innovation, and I'm looking at you guys, but they're also the realities of getting through college, of succeeding at work, of being part of a family, of being a human being. Whether you dream to find a job, go to the moon, or go to the grocery store, it will only happen through discovery, by making a plan and making it happen. Some of you have practiced this to the point that it now comes naturally. For others, it's still a challenge. But you all have experienced this process of dream, discovery, and design more than most. And if your college roommate knows more than you do about microeconomics, I bet you'll know more than them about what it takes to make an idea become a reality. So finally, I don't think it would be a commencement speech without one piece of advice. So I'm going to pass on to you guys one piece of advice that my mom gave to me, and one that I come to appreciate more every year. Every morning when I was leaving for school, every day, my mom would tell me the same thing. She said, keep smiling. And it's so simple, but it's so important. Smiling is contagious. It makes us healthier, it makes us happier, it improves our relationships. And smiling is not just a product of being happy, but it's an action that helps make us happy. And you guys are all going to face challenges. But you'll know how to dream up solutions, make a plan, and make it happen. And while you do that, do your best to keep smiling. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. So, it's the morning of September 3rd, 2009. The sky was blue, and the weather was perfect. I'm standing at the window in my office, directly facing the Cathedral of Learning. Soon, SciTech students would be walking up our front steps for the very first time. I can picture their faces. Students from across the city of Pittsburgh and its multitude of neighborhoods. A combination of both nervousness and excitement meeting one another for the first time. For the first time in my life, I'm nervous about the first day of school. Are we prepared? Is everything in place? Do we have the capacity to build and grow this school? My eyes keep going back to the cathedral. It's a metaphor for the end goal and a reminder of our mission. No matter what, we need to do everything we can to ensure that all of our students are prepared to be there one day, hopefully studying in a STEM field. I take a deep breath, I make one last announcement to the staff on the intercom, and walk outside to meet our new family. Since that moment, it has all been a blur. As I reflected and prepared for this address, I thought, how do I distill everything that we have done in just a few minutes? Over the last 4 years, everyone, students, teachers, and staff members, have poured their hearts and souls into SciTech. We set out to implement a unique academic program designed to take students who enter at a wide range of ability levels and support them as they pursue advanced coursework in emerging areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. In addition to this focus on STEM education, we were also going to do school differently by implementing a blended learning environment, a student advisory program, flexible block scheduling, and academic support and teacher professional development built into the school day. And while we continue to get smarter in how we do this work, you are the first students who are a product of that environment. You are the students and families who took a chance and said, we want to be a part of something like this. You are the pioneers. Over the last 4 years, you've taken courses in bioinformatics, web design, energy resources and consumption, and civil engineering and architecture. Courses that few students ever have an opportunity to take at the high school level. You studied research methods, produced your own music, and applied your knowledge and skills through executive experience. You won numerous competitions and were recognized for your participation in community service activities. You found your passions, and your hard work paid off. Lewis Carroll once asked, if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? This group of students certainly knows where they're going. You were accepted to schools such as Carnegie Mellon, Goucher College, Colorado School of Mines, Case Western Reserve, Tulane, Pitt, Penn State. Many of you received scholarships to your college of choice, and 85% of you are graduating eligible for the Pittsburgh Promise and the up to $40,000 that comes along with it. So tonight is both an end and a beginning. This will likely be the last time that all of you are together in the same room. The Lucky 13 family. You will receive your diploma signifying an end to a journey you began 12 years ago, but now begins a new chapter in your life. As you move into this new chapter, I leave you with 3 pieces of advice. First, never forget who you are and where you came from. There are a lot of people in your life who helped you get to this moment. Many of those individuals are in this room today. Family members, friends, teachers. Take pride in who you are and respect yourself as you move forward in life. Build on your positive experiences and figure out how to never make the same mistake twice. And while your background and circumstances may have influenced who you are right now, you are ultimately responsible for who you become. Second, follow the 5 Ps. Prompt, prepared, productive, polite, and positive are all traits of successful people. While you probably won't hear about the 5 Ps from a university professor or a future employer, you will hear the word professionalism. Quite frankly, that is what the 5 Ps are. If you carry yourself with a professional attitude, you can accomplish anything. It's tough to be successful when you're not prompt, when you're not prepared, when you're not productive, polite, or positive. And finally, make the world a better place. The beauty of the STEM fields is that so much of the emerging work taking place today is to ensure that everyone has a better quality of life. Whether it's finding a cure for an incurable disease, developing a web app that's helped someone find answers to their questions, or designing a way for people to access safe drinking water in a developing country, the STEM fields are all about finding solutions. It's not always about taking the job that pays the most. You will likely find greater reward knowing that you are leaving the world a better place than when you found it. Utilize your skills and strengths for the good of all. So never forget who you are and where you came from, follow the 5 Ps, and endeavor to make the world a better place. It has been an absolute pleasure spending the last 4 years together, and certainly the most rewarding of my career. You're a special group of students with unlimited potential. Seize opportunities as they present themselves and continue to grow as a person. You've been given wings, now go fly. I expect great things from you, class of 2013. And now the moment that you've all been waiting for.
Okay. Oh, no, right here.
I don't have my
Okay.
list.
I am pleased to acknowledge the 2013 class of Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy 612 and authorize the principal, Dr. Robert Shearer, to grant diplomas to the members of the class.
Good evening and welcome, class of 2013. I'd like to introduce you to our first graduates, Ms. Catherine Head. Stephanie Raybar. Sam Rest. DeAndre Johnson. Chastity Bay. Vania Brister. Keenan Brown. Ellen Bukait. Carly Cardillo. Debonair Cook. Craig Edmonds. Alicia Farilli. Michael Fisher. Aaron Garrett. Zachary Goodall. Bridger Griffiths. Ashley Greenage. Rick Hairston. Dominic Hall. Jasmine Ham. Adam Hoffman. Shaniqua Holyfield. Lynn Johnson. Irina Carnival-Show. David Koopman. You're fabulous. Akila Manson-Fire. Tyler Marsh. Andrew Marsh Jr. John Martine. Naona McLemore. Paige Meyer. You'll be fine. Nia Miller. Deja Moore. Michael Mullen. Okay. James Masaccio III. Debbie Polowitz. Hiram Peterson. Matthew Pierce. Shy Scott. Taiwan Scott. Peter Shaley. Jacqueline Sharp. Jaleese Shedrick. Faith Smiley. Louis Demera. Jonathan Strickland. Martina Thompson. Quavo. Pravir Vias. Kayla Wade. Krisnetta Walla. Brittany Welsh. Latalia White. Devonta Wilder. And James Whitfield. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2013.
Okay, well, I've got this one. So. Okay. Students, would you please stand? On behalf of the Pittsburgh Board of Education and on the authority granted to it by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, I hereby declare the 2013 class of the Pittsburgh Science and Technology Academy graduated. Tassel left to right.
Thank you, Dr. Lane. Once again, congratulations, class of 2013. This will now end our commencement ceremony.